Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, my shipment of Larch has arrived. So just the other day, I got this box in the mail and it was all solid. It didn't say plants on it, live plants, like I get some of my other shipments. But I was like, look at the length of this box. It's an odd-shaped box. It's not my tools I ordered. And sure enough, it was the larch trees. So wrapped up in this bag are these 4 bundles of 25 larch trees. And here they are. So they are 18 to 24 inch widths, American larch, and bare-rooted from Michigan. And so one of the instructions on the box when it came, or in a piece of paper that was in the box, is that if you're curious if it's looking all dead up here, because when I first opened it up, I also was like, looks pretty dry and kind of dead. But they're all flimsy. And as you raise it up, all the green buds are just ready to pop. So this is a perfect time to repot. When the buds are ready to shoot out, we're in good shape. Everything's been bare rooted for me, so all I have to do is find pots for these guys and put them in there. So let's go look for some pots real quick. I'm back under my deck where I have my 2 55-gallon drums and just watered earlier, so the water is doing really nice in the drums, getting that fresh rainwater on the trees. I think they're really liking it this year. Pump's working really good, but I'm back here because I have to figure out what I'm going to use for the pots for all the larch that came in. Fortunately for me, with the Minnesota Bonsai Society, I have access to a lot of recycled nursery pots because no one else wants them. If they do, we give them to them so we can reduce and reuse, recycle, all that good stuff. And so this is my stash, the ones that I keep that are all similar size from the different various workshops. So it's nice as I have a couple sizes to choose from. So one of the most recent workshops, I got this size, which is the number 2 pots, which the junipers came in. So number 2 pot, certainly really deep. Then I have these, which have come from some of our tropical Premnas and Melinas that we used last year. And so these guys are a lot shallower, but just as wide. And if I can get one apart here for you, I can give you a little bit better indication of the depth of it. There we go. So here is one pot. So we got about 3 to 4 inches deep. We have a nice similar width to a number 2 pot, just a little bit less than a 2 pot. And if the roots aren't too tall up on the larch, I would like to plant them all on here. Got 5 big holes. We can cover those holes up and we can get some larch in here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to break all my larch. I'm going to divide up 100 into 5 tree plantings. So for folks that might be interested in starting their own larch forest, would have 5 to get going with. And then I might also throw in a half a dozen to a dozen just in solo pots and maybe do some wiring and twist them around to make them to be a unique tree down the road. I haven't decided that yet, but I probably should, because as long as I have 100 of them, I might as well make some flexibility and provide some options. So I think I'm going to bring these up here. I'm going to grab, well, let's see, 5 times 20 would be 100. So I need 20 of these minus a couple of pots. So, 15, 16, maybe 17 pots, and we'll be good to go. So let's get a couple of them going here. So here are the pots, the recycled pots from the Premnas and the Melinas from our workshop last year with Minnesota Bonsai Society. Now I'm just going to put this in here. I'm not going to put 25 trees in a pot that's only about 9 inches wide, but I want to see the depth of the root system. And it looks like I could get 5 trees in here pretty nicely. I think I can spread the roots out pretty good. And I've got tree branches starting right there. And again, I think I can spread out the bottoms and put them in here, and it could be a really nice starter training pot. So let's get this one unwrapped, try a couple of trees, 3 to 5, and we'll see if it's going to work. We have some with thinner trunks, some with thicker trunks. This could be a triple trunk. Look at that. We've got 2 branches growing down low right there. That's going to easily fit into this pot right here. Oops, I have one down here all ready for me to go. Now there is a little bit of a taproot on here. We could put it at an angle, we can put them all straight up and down, but all the roots will be covered by soil, which is nice. Now there's not a ton of roots on these, but there's certainly some good feeder roots on there, and all of these have the green just starting to pop out on here and ready to go. So I'm imagining they kept these dormant unless they were in the ground literally until the ground was unfrozen and they whipped them out of the ground in their nursery. Or it was in a, I can't imagine if it was in a greenhouse type situation, because I would have gotten them a lot sooner. I got these the 3rd week of May, almost the 4th week of May. So we're going to try to put 5 of these per pot for most of them. So they're young whips. If I get a thicker one like this, maybe I'll put that in a solo pot. I'll keep my thicker ones in a solo pot. This one still has a pretty hefty taproot. I'll cut some of that off, but there's a little precursor to what these will look like. 5 trees in this pot for a future bonsai forest of larch. I think we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll get 5 in a pot. So before I do that, I'm going to put these back in the bag. The bag still has a little bit of moisture in there. These all have 5 big holes in there. Now that's a lot of drainage holes to fill when you're going to do 20 pots. So instead of using small, round, thicker plastic and wiring them all in, this is where I'll use my tape, the construction tape for your sheetrock. So a little bit of sheetrock tape to just stay on there, provide the drainage still. It's quick and it's going to provide great drainage, and these are just fresh trees that are going to be in a pot. And my next decision then is, what am I going to use for soil? So I think for most of these pots, I have a big bin of recycled soil that I got from some of my more recent repots and deaths of trees. So unfortunately, I lost a few trees this year, and just in the last week or so, in preparation for this delivery, I collected all my recycled soil, I put them in a bin, it's sitting in the sun, I've washed it out once. I'm probably going to just keep it as washed once and just throw it in here, and we're going to go ahead and get these trees into some recycled bonsai soil right off the bat and keep a close eye on them. So I need some sheetrock tape, and we got some work to do. So normally, when I'm working on a pot like this, I'll take my sheetrock tape, you can get white or blue, doesn't matter, it's covered, doesn't matter, right? And I would just lay out a big strip on here, but I'm running a little low on my sheetrock tape. So to try to make it last a little longer, I'm going to cut some real specific sizes that fit the small holes there. It is sticky on the bottom, so I should be able to do that with no problem. And I'd be able to make it stretch out a lot further. So it's a beautiful day, 70 degrees plus, it's quiet, it's calm. Let's start cutting some tape. And there we have our sheetrock tape, specifically custom cut to the 5 holes. We've got 19 more pots to bury. Well, not so much as bury, as cover. There we have the 20th pot with 5 drainage plugs in there with the sheetrock tape. So I have 20 pots. The drainage sheets, the drainage screens are all in place. So now, the fun part. Grab the soil, grab the trees, split them up, put them all in there, get a little fertilizer in there, that starter fertilizer. I won't forget it this time. And then we'll get these set up and find a place where we're going to keep them. I've got the trees I've got the pots, I've got the soil, and yes, I remembered the fertilizer. So this is Dr. Earth Root Zone Organic and Natural Handcrafted Blend of starter fertilizer to give these things a leg up when they get repotted here. Got my little chopstick, and we're just going to get some of these trees into some pots. Now, these, I'm not going to spend a lot of particular time sorting through all 100 trees and getting the absolute perfect scene. They're going to all need to do some growing. So, we're just going to pull them out, and I'm going to keep some of the thicker ones for some potential solo trees down the road. And a couple of these I noticed have some good curves down at the bottom, but they might be too much in the root zone. So here's what we're going to do. This is going to get really messy. We're going to get a base of soil, and then we're going to get a scoop of fertilizer, and then we're going to pick a tree. And there we go. We have a tree right there. And if you ever have any doubt if it's alive, of course what they recommend is to just scratch a little bit of the surface here. If you see white or green, you've got a cambium layer, you're in good shape. If you see brown or black, we're in tough shape. So I'm going to go ahead and put this straight down right there. I'll put a little soil around it. These are going to probably fall over in the beginning. Angle a couple of them. I got a little taproot there. Okay, that'll be 2. And this one will be 3. Right there. Some more soil in there. Let's get this one back in there. Get some soil in there. Okay. Look at this. I wonder if this is one of the 100 or if I got a bonus tree. We're going to plant it just to be safe. Off to the side. We'll pretend it's not one of our trees and we'll see. Let's get this one in there. That one's kind of big. We got some big ones in there now all of a sudden. Here we go. This one's smaller. 1, 2, 3. This would be 4. And then we got this one. This one can certainly be 5. Right there. All right. My soil mix. This has mostly akadama, or excuse me, mostly pumice and lava rock. There will be some akadama in here as well from some of my plantings, but not as many. We use a lot of pumice. A lot of people use pumice when they are collecting trees and doing some yamadori. So extra pumice in here would be a good idea too for getting these trees acclimated to Minnesota weather here from Michigan. Not too much acclimation needed. Right. So we got our first little planting of the larch. Now again, there's 6 trees in here, so we usually use an odd number, 5 or 7 or 9 or 11. But this is just to keep these alive this first year in my backyard and see where they're going to go. And if they take off and they look really good by July, perhaps some people over at the workshop will be able to pick up a large tree. So there's the first one done right there. All right, I'm going to set that one down right there for a second. Grab my chopstick again. Now this is good wet soil, so it tamped down really good putting it in there. Just want to make sure that, yeah, we have good connection there. And it's really wet soil, so I don't even have to water this tree right now. We'll give it a good watering tomorrow, because this is just, there's water in this pot right now from the rain we've had. And so it's already dripping for me working on it. Boy, this one has some fun movement right here. And then we got this extra trunk right there, so that's kind of fun. Okay, and then last, if I want to do any trimming right off the get-go, we can go ahead and trim these all just a little bit shorter. And we have ourselves a little larch forest in a round pot. It'll have plenty of room to grow roots this year, and then next spring someone can put it in their very own forest planting, or I can rearrange it into a new tray or a new pot, a little shallower, or something a little bit wider, and we'll go from there. So this is one of up to 20, although I think we're going to save a couple of trees, like I mentioned, to do as solos. Because when we have some natural movement like this right here at this young age, that's awesome. And because the foliage on these larch are not out yet, they're just a little slightly green here. You can probably see some of the green just barely with the light. I can zoom up a little bit on post-production. There's some green popping out of these trees. So we got one done. I wanted to see how it was going to go. It's a perfect time for me to stop now. I need to go get some dinner going. So one done, we'll set this aside. We'll leave all our stuff out here, and we will work on this after dinner. I'm going to put these back in the bag where they're kept nice and moist down here. I'm going to go ahead. Actually, I'm going to dunk them in the water right here. Double check, triple check that they're wet. There we go. There's some moisture in the bottom of the bag. All right, time to eat, and we'll work on the larch forests 1 through 19 and the solos in just a little bit. Dinner was exceptional. Now it's time to get some of these trees in the pot. I've got 5 pots all done now with 5 trees per pot. A couple of the pots had a couple of little tiny whips, super small. The one on that left side over there, right there, super tiny small. So we have 25 trees in there, 27 if you count those little ones. We've got some forests in the making. We got plenty of wet soil in there, some fertilizer starter, and we're gonna get some sphagnum moss on here next, but we got a few more trees to plant. That's right, we got 75 more to go. So let's keep at it. Down to my last clump of 25. And I've decided I'm going to make a couple of 3 tree forests. I think we're going to do 5 pots of 3. So that'll be 15, and then 2 more of the 5s. I'm not going to do any solos, as it turns out. I think we're going to just, I'll keep these together at first. So we're gonna go ahead and get a couple fives going, threes going rather. So I got some more large pumice to add to my recycled mix. I'm putting some Dr. Earth starter fertilizer in there. And we'll put 3 in here. It's a little bit deeper pot. They'll sit in there a little bit nicer. So we got a long taproot like that with some high roots up here. We can get in that a little bit better. And be in better shape than in the shallower pot for a couple of these plantings, and see how that helps. So these all went in pretty good. There were a couple of bigger ones that I had to put more planting at the side, but we'll get all kinds of feeder roots hopefully growing up and down those main trunks in the new soil. Put some sphagnum moss, as I mentioned earlier, at the end here. Keep these nice and watered. And there we have a nice little forest of 3. Again, the original placement is not what we're striving for. We're going to keep these guys alive. So let's get a couple more. We'll find all the shorter ones for the 5. We'll keep the longer ones for the 3 ones where they just kind of straight down. A little more of a taproot. Found a little bit more recycled soil that I had, and a little bit of fresh stuff to get me what I think I'm going to need to finish this job. That one in the middle. I guess that's it. I can't find any more trees. Let's go take a peek at the final bench with all the trees. So we are just about complete. We've got all the pots up here on the bench. So all the plants that were here in kind of the partial shade area are now all in their more full sun areas. This is the north side of the garage. It'll get nice morning sun for a couple of hours, and then it'll go behind the house and not high enough to get here for the rest of the day. So a good place to have these get a little bit of sun, but not too much sun. So we have all the 5s on the bottom. All the 5s are from left to right. And we have all the 3s in the lower pots and a couple of the 3s in the taller pots as well. So we're going to give them some sphagnum moss after we give them a little wash. So let's give them a good rinse to kind of clean off some of the muck that was in that soil. Now this soil was already pre-wet, so I'm not too worried about this being dry by any stretch. So we got them all washed down. A little bit of the dirt has gone through now to the bottom. And we've got some sphagnum moss here to moisten up, and we're going to put that on there as well, and then give it another spray. So we got some sphagnum moss on all the trees when it's dry, and we'll kind of tamp it down now with some light water. I think we have to bring it to a close right there. So we've got some sphagnum moss on top of this to help keep some of the moisture in for the new roots. Also, some of the trees were a little bit planted high, and so there are some higher roots, some lower ones, but also some higher ones. So the sphagnum moss will keep a little more moisture around those roots too and help them to kind of find their way into the soil. So we got all of our larch, all 102 of them, I think, with those 2 little extra ones we found, right? 102 larches into the pot. We've got some starter fertilizer in there. I hope I didn't wash it all away. And we have everything on here in the partial shade, mostly shade, a little bit of morning sun, and then it's going to be shade the rest of the day. We'll keep them here for a good couple of weeks, and then we'll ease them into more sunshine. Big project, another one done. It's Memorial Weekend, Friday night of Memorial Weekend. I got a big project. I got to move all my little trees away from what's going to be my new bench. Yeah, we'll give you some updates and all that on the next show, and I'll tell you more about these coming up as well. You know, why do I have so many of these larch? What is this all about? The hint is Bonsai Acres, and we'll talk about it very soon. In the meantime, hey, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you very, very soon.